All righty, what's up, guys? It's SEC After Dark. It's weird not having intro music to bring us in for me to groove to. Maybe I could rectify that because I got some music that is not copyrighted,
right?
And I have permission to use it. And it's a nice little rap beat. But we are SEC After Dark, presented by. Is this the drum roll announcement?
No, we're not presented by yet anybody, but we're going to be presented by, starting May 31st, Dead Soxy. Dead Soxy will be the presenting sponsor of the whole After Dark YouTube channel. And so we want to thank Jason Simmons and all the people over at Dead Soxy for kind of taking a leap on our expansion plans and moving forward with that.
So there you go. There's the announcement. I didn't want to steal your thunder, Steve, but that is Stephen Willis. He is the Locked on Ole Miss podcast. We got Jeb Beecham. He is going to be a movie podcast guy starting after May 31st, I believe, with Dead Soxy, and Jake Thomas, Tie Talk Live, and. Me, I'm Bleav In Georgia Dawgs, and I join you right here. And I think we're going to be back for Illegal Motion. I'm not real sure yet, but that is the general plan if we have time. My friend Matt is killing it with Bleav In Badgers, so he may not have time. But we all join forces to bring you the greatest SEC night show there is
ever
on the market,
ever,
because we go off the rails. And
we stay off the rails. That's the brand.
We're now at Off the Rails LLC. Should have been the brand there. but we are After Dark LLC, and we also are presented by BetOnline.ag as well. They have all your sports betting needs. NBA and NHL playoffs are in the full steam ahead. Lots of cool stuff happening in the hockey world. The Florida Panthers are a tough out.
Good, really? I know, it's crazy.
The Kraken are enjoying their inaugural season in Seattle. So finally, a Seattle sports team that is good. And the NBA playoffs, you may like them. I don't. But if you go to betonline.ag, you can bet on all the stuff in Tennessee. We were not allowed to bet on horses, so that was disappointing. But that's not a BetOnline thing. That's a state thing, so that's not BetOnline's fault. But they have all your latest odds, live in-game betting trends, and all of the things that you want if you want to do some online sports gambling. They also have casino games, like if you like craps or blackjack, or if you're one of those that plays Caribbean poker. I don't know who you are, but there are people that do play that game, and I don't get it. Maybe you can explain it to me. But what you need to do is go to betonline.ag, either on your computer or your mobile device, and put in the promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline is where the game starts. Let's get started, shall we? Speaking of gambling, that's a good segue.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if Jake, if y'all's baseball coach used BetOnline to place his bets.
I don't know
Probably
what
not
he used.
because he betted in Ohio, so it might have been FanDuel.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, actually, no. I think it was at a casino because they actually caught him in the sports book. So it's probably not an online thing. It's probably like Bob's Casino and Resort or something like that.
Isn't there like a Harris Casino in Cincinnati or something like that?
They're everywhere now. It's kind of funny. We went from like Atlantic City and Las Vegas being the only places you can gamble to like 40 years later, it just being literally everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you can go to Metropolis, Illinois. I think it's like an hour and a half bus ride or something like that. 2-hour bus ride, and you can go bet in the very southern tip of Illinois.
Michael Specs hitting the chat early said, "All right, man, make it a good show. I've been bragging on this show all week." So, Michael, we hope to get you.
Chat ain't showing up on my end.
Yeah,
not on mine either.
Mike's comment is not on our end. I can't see it.
Let me see.
But
Mike's
thank you, Michael.
Yeah, Michael's like, Jesus.
I can fix this in just a second, I think.
He's like, He's like, what kind of amateur gram is this? Can't get
seriously.
the chat going. Freaking amateurs.
Yes,
I mean, I'm
seriously.
Amateur hour.
Well,
So is gambling, like, I know we said let the gambling scandals begin in our opening graphic there. Like, is this going to be a thing now that we're going to start seeing people get? I mean, I guess the prevalence of casinos and casinos popping up doesn't help, but like with NIL money and things that are getting all cloudy, is gambling going to be a problem? Do we foresee it being a problem?
Not any more problem than it's been, but the problem that is going to be done is like whenever people get in trouble for this, all of a sudden you see on social media, it's like, oh, why can't they place a bet? Like the whole thing with like, was it Calvin Ridley?
Yeah.
And they were talking about that. And it's like, no, they cannot screw around with this. They cannot make this be WWE. The outcome cannot be in doubt. If that happens, sports are over.
period.
And you have to be in a position to where what you're seeing on the field is really happening. Because the moment that is doubted and the moment that just gets swept under the rug, that's the end of sports in this country, period. There's no coming back to it because there's not enough drama in professional football to make people pay attention if the outcome is disputed.
Or already decided or scripted.
Yeah.
You know, like WWE, like I think people just watch for the gimmicks and the show. And I mean, it's just a show at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, football would just be
Still
show.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's still fun. But like, I don't think you would have football super fans, like you would if it was like you would as it's not scripted now.
No, and I agree with you too. I think there's already enough people that like to complain and talk about certain sports like the NFL or NBA being, scripted or them knowing who's going to actually win or it's being rigged in some way. If you actually gave any kind of validity to any of those conspiracy theories, I think you're right. I think it could end up just killing the whole thing.
Right.
So right now they just have no leg to stand on. It's just people complaining. But
just the threat of it, I think, has driven some fans away. But I think the NFL has so many fans come and go, it doesn't really hurt the bottom line. But
you can't give them any validity.
If you give them any validity, some of those that are going to go are going to go, and some of those that were wavering might just say, "I'm going to go."
Hey, yes, I did fix the chat. Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's actually listed as sports entertainment, same as WWE. I think because they have NFL Films and they have some other things within their corporation, I think they can umbrella do that.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a lot of that probably. I don't know if NHL or NBA or MLB or MLS are classified as sports entertainment, but I think that's just a coincidence.
The whole entity.
Yeah.
Because they all own networks now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have online presence, online
but the
exclusive content.
But the fact of the matter is college players cannot bet on sports. They can't even be in a fantasy pool that gives money to a winner. And that is because it is a slippery slope to fixing games. Mm-hmm. You know, that Henry Hill led a group that got with Boston College basketball and got them to point shave back in the 70s. It's like the Goodfellas guy.
Yeah.
And that actually happened. There's a 30 for 30 for that. And it's a very, very slippery slope. And you just cannot mess around with gambling because we are barreling down the road to an 8-man out type situation. The Black Sox situation is on the table. And if that happens, that is the end, maybe not just of any sport, but of all sports. You want to shake the belief in everybody, they're just looking for an excuse to bail at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think so. Oh, that lighting made a difference. But it just, you can't. Steve, you're exactly right. I don't know how to add to that point. I mean, I think that's a really good point. It's a very slippery slope, and once it gets started, it's not a good thing.
Yeah,
and you're going to see sports being controlled by the sharks.
Well, it's one of those things where if somebody gets caught for gambling, like I think CJ Moore or AJ Moore, I'm not sure which of the twins, but a player at Ole Miss for Detroit got suspended for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
For
I think it was CJ Moore. JMO got suspended for 6 games.
Yeah, and the reason that they're like, well, you get a year for that, but you don't get any suspension for sexual abuse. Well, sexual abuse doesn't affect the bottom line. That's the whole thing. We're talking about the actual existence of a sport and how gambling can take that apart at the seam. The other thing is just a personnel issue. Now, I'm not talking down about it or looking down on it in any way, but there's a difference between the two, and it's not a moral difference. It's a bottom line difference. And I think people need to understand that and understand the gravity is going on, because every compliance department right now is desperately sending out emails to every member of their team saying, hey, don't place a bet. Your names go down to a register. There are people looking for that name on the register. If it appears, you will be in trouble. You will lose your scholarship. You'll be hopefully banned for life, because honestly, that's what's going to end up having to happen. You're going to have to start Pete Rosing people for this to for the carrot to not for the risk assessment to be a different thing. So it's very interesting to me. It's very hard, and it's a difficult conversation to have, because honestly, random student that's 21 years old, they can go place a bet. They can hop on whatever app they choose to do it. They can do all that. But college athletes cannot do it. They cannot risk this, because your whole future is being risked over the chance to make, what, $50 on an NBA game? Something like that.
Yeah.
You've got to think this through. And this is people of an age that just do not think things through.
No, it's just do and ask questions later, and you got to deal with the consequences, and they don't really deal with them all that well, and they don't really think about anything happening. I see that every day at school. Like, kids will just pop off, and they don't really understand what sometimes they don't even know what they're mad about. They're just mad because they feel like they have to be mad. But I mean, I can't fathom what sports would look like if this were to get out of hand. But yeah, I think harsh punishments should. I think you're right about that too. I think harsh punishments should be. Yeah.
Now,
let's see.
I think Wes is on Facebook right now, and he says banned ? I think Bama coach will serve prison time. It took a group of people to make this happen, not just 2. Feds are investigating now. More will come of this. That is absolutely true. I cannot believe that Brad Bohannon just threw away his career.
Pretty much.
Over this. I cannot believe this. Baseball is not the wealthiest coaching sport, but at the SEC level, I bet he was making $500,000 or $600,000 at a minimum.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good living at that level.
Yeah, and you would just for what he did, I mean, real similar to the Pete Rose analogy that I just made. He should be banned for baseball and the NCAA for life.
Well, if they're investigating him, there's bigger things.
Well, no, I want him to go to prison as much as anybody, because I think this is abhorrent. But I do think he needs to be banned from life from baseball, because there has to be a head on the spike. Yeah, and like he needs to get Joe Jackson.
Yeah,
and it's crazy, because I mean, when he come to Alabama, he took a bottom driller and has built a program down there. Now this is going to be his legacy for what he did, instead of what he had accomplished up to this point.
Yeah. And this the aftermath of this, the wake of the storm, is that now Alabama's baseball program is probably going to be in shambles for a few years while they have to pick up the pieces
again, and
it's going to reset to what y'all were, which
right.
I know what that's like, being a Georgia fan from 2010 until just a couple of seasons ago. Was bottom dwelling, couldn't even make the SEC tournament. So I know what that's like. And I know how hard it is to get back to a level where you're just consistently good which we're consistently good, but we're not great. But we're also, we're also making a little bit of noise and getting to regionals.
I mean, SEC in baseball is as loaded as any conference out there, just like any sport really in the SEC. It's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt there. All right. Okay, let's get off this bummer subject and get on to something that's interesting. This is a graphic that I got from the people at Locked On, and it is SEC football win totals from FanDuel. And here we go. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah. So win totals. Vanderbilt 3.5 wins. Didn't we say we're going to take the over on that?
Oh,
Absolutely.
over all day on that one. I am all about some Vanderbilt going over 3.5. If they win their non-conference games, which that means beating Wake Forest without Sam Hartman, all of a sudden it can happen. But I am very much a Vandy over person. I'm also maybe a 4 to under person, low key.
I was thinking about that one. 6 wins? Yeah, they could do 6.
I was going to say the over just because I think they'll get to 6. I don't think they'll do worse than 6.
So once we go over this, let's pick out 2 or 3 of them and just kind of go through the schedule. I do want to look at the Florida one eventually, Corey, if you can bring that up and have that queued up in a second, because I want to know if they can get to 6. I think South Carolina at 6.5 is interesting because they were the hot team in the offseason. And now you just don't hear much about them. And they got the same – they're basically in a pod with Kentucky, Auburn, Arkansas State, and Missouri. Like 6 teams are sitting there at 6.5. Basically, my opinion after looking at this thing is one of the hot takes that I have going into this football season is Georgia is the elite team in the conference. And then you got a whole bunch of teams where it looks like 10 teams that are probably within a game or 2 of each other realistically. Because you look at South Carolina, Missouri State, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, that's all 6.5 wins. Now, I would take the under on Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I probably would on Missouri too.
I'm tempted to take the under on Auburn, to be perfectly honest. Whenever Hugh Freeze is having to answer questions about how did Robbie Ashford take it that a mediocre Big Ten quarterback just came into the conference, that's probably not a good sign.
It's true.
A&M at 7.5. I'm tempted to take the over there. Ole Miss, I take the over. Tennessee, I don't see 10 wins in the regular season. I think they can get to 9. But if they hit theirs, Alabama won't hit theirs. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, LSU can't hit the over without Bama hitting the
under.
The only way they can hit the over is if Bama hits the under.
Yeah. And like I said, Georgia, I mean, there's 2 games on their schedule in the regular season, and that is in Athens, Ole Miss going over there, and is it Knoxville or Athens?
Yeah, Knoxville.
It's in Knoxville in Tennessee. Those are the 2 games. Now, the question is, can Georgia drop one of those games? Is Carson Beck the dude?
I think the game that they stand to drop the most or that have the best chance of dropping is that Tennessee game in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Because Knoxville, believe it or not, is a tough place to play. Alabama learned that last season with that game. They still almost came away with the win, but that was probably one of the most craziest Tennessee fan base or fan experiences that I've seen. I mean, you could I had the TV up like medium volume, and I was like, "Good Lord, I can barely hear the announcers." I mean, it is rowdy.
They also got the mustard bottles and golf balls ready too. So.
But the one problem that Tennessee has, and the one thing that could save Georgia in that game, is if Tennessee drops a game or 2 early in the year. Now, I agree with you 100% if Tennessee comes into that game with like 8 or 9 wins, whenever it is. Because I think it's in November, right?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks after the cocktail party, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we get Kentucky in between that.
You're saying Tennessee, you don't see them getting the 10 wins. Who do you see them losing to? You got Georgia and Alabama, but that's still 11 wins.
No, that's 10.
Oh, that is 10. Okay.
That is 10. And
yeah,
then
I still want to see him maybe
Tennessee,
A&M.
Tennessee has to do chalk after that. And most
don't
team
see
in
them
college
A&M.
football, with the exception of Alabama and Georgia, they're going to slip up during the season.
Yeah, they're going to have a South Carolina game like we had last season.
Well, like Florida could end up with 5 wins, but are you going to tell me we're going to chalk Tennessee going to Gainesville and getting a win as a W?
Yeah, just as automatic. You're right.
Yeah.
That's early on. I think it will be, but I see what you're saying.
Let's take a look at Florida then. If we're gonna,
because that's our third game.
I got their schedule queued up here, and their first. All right, let's see their first 5 games at Utah, home against McNeese, home against Tennessee, home against Charlotte, at Kentucky.
3-2. Potentially.
Ideally, I agree with the 3-2. It could go 2-3.
Right.
Yeah.
It absolutely could do 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kentucky's not easy, but I think.
No, I'm talking about Utah.
No, Utah's definitely.
Utah, Kentucky, and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of those could be very tricky for Florida.
Tennessee's just so dang explosive, man, and Florida's got such bad quarterback problems that the Utah game is going to be really bad for them because they got quarterback problems. The Tennessee game is going to be really bad because they got quarterback problems. That's going to be exacerbated by how fast that Florida's going to feel they have to keep up to be able to keep up with an explosive Tennessee roster. And then Kentucky on the road is just a tough game, and and Kentucky could go either way. I think.
Kentucky? There is the 5th game out of the 5 there you talked about.
Yeah.
So who they have after that? Who they?
Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Okay, trap game for them against Kentucky.
At South Carolina. At South Carolina is the next one,
which could be tough.
And then a bye week, and then the cocktail party. So
holy Snikey! They could be like 2-7.
They could.
That's what I'm saying. With Florida, that could easily get away from them, start snowballing.
If it starts snowballing, how long does
if they get shellacked by Tennessee, like if the Barbarians are at the gate ready to take Billy Napier's head, you could see like an interim coach. They could fire him after Kentucky, and an interim coach has to take on Vandy, South Carolina, Georgia, and Arkansas, and LSU.
Yeah, all in a row.
All in a row. With a bye week in there between South Carolina and Georgia, and
won't help them much. That
could get real ugly real fast. And not to mention Florida State is back up, so that's not good. At Missouri late, Missouri's an enigma. You don't know which Missouri team's going to show up. But at LSU, that's a definite loss. I mean, the environment alone, it makes it tough, but LSU's good. Arkansas, I think they can beat Arkansas. Thankfully for them, it's a home game. I think they can get that one. I don't know. I might take the under. Now that I think about it.
It's a weird schedule, and it's hard. It's honestly hard to think about Florida like this because of what Steve Spurrier built. But man,
Dan Mullen
wrecked it. You always talk about don't wreck the Ferrari.
No,
he wrecked it. I mean, he's got to talk to Higgins and let him know what's going on because man, that thing's in a ditch,
upside down. Like it's bad. Their quarterback situation. Like I know we like to joke, and I hate. No, I'm a Gator hater because of what's behind me over here. But they're in a tough situation. With their quarterback, like Graham Mertz is your guy. Like, that's brutal. And at once that was an upgrade, but it's not now. Since Kirby can't recruit. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's what she meant was he would rather have a home and home. Yeah, he would rather have.
He's been fighting for that since he got there. Right. I think it's time. Honestly. I think they should. Like, I saw an idea where, speaking of that, I saw an idea where they would go home, neutral. So they would run that series on a 3-year cycle where it's Athens, Gainesville, Jacksonville. Athens, Gainesville, Jacksonville.
Wes says Florida's the next Nebraska of football. Maybe.
It could be.
But the one thing that Florida has that Nebraska doesn't have is there's
It's the
so
state of
many
Florida.
players down there.
It's the state of Florida and the
They
state
are
of
loaded.
Georgia. The Southeast is really good.
You can literally just go out 20 miles and do a circle around my house and probably find 100 D1 athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can bounce back much quicker this day and age at Florida. You get a good coach in there and it can turn around pretty quick, especially with the transfer portal and stuff like that. It can turn around real quick. But Napier, I'm not sold, man. I'm just not sold whatsoever. Like I think he was great at Louisiana.
Right.
I think he's a really good G5 coach. Maybe that's his ceiling, and that's okay. That's certainly a ceiling that's higher than my ceiling. I'll give him that. But at the University of Florida, he is not the answer, which is why they should give him a lifetime contract.
Yes.
Dan Mullen, offensive coordinator.
Yes. And Todd Grantham, defense coordinator. Please make that
Who's
happen.
Grantham with now?
Alabama, isn't he?
Well,
he's
he's
an
an
analyst.
analyst. That's right.
Yeah.
He's gonna ride that train for. He's gonna ride that gravy train for a while.
Come on, ride that train. Oh.
There's a reason
Yeah.
LSU didn't offer Napier.
Hmm.
We
That's
have
a good
figured
point.
that out now. We have figured that out. LSU made the right move. I wish John was still here. I would tell him that.
Do
I
you
don't know where's he been the last couple of weeks.
Last couple of weeks, I hadn't seen him in two.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen him in a
hadn't
month
seen
and a
him in
half.
a while.
It's been a month too.
It's been a minute.
Maybe he doesn't like the way we talk about LSU pretty consistently.
Well,
That's a good point.
well, he's still got to remain part of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LSU are paper tigers, I do believe, though.
Think so?
Oh yeah. Last year they were able to surprise a little bit. Them being the hunted this year, I'm smelling an 8-4.
Bold. I think. I mean, I don't. There's not much difference in saying 9-3, but I that's where I think they are.
Them going to Tuscaloosa. Let's see, the Oxford.
I mean,
Te-
the way Alabama's been with this quarterback situation of their own, is that as tough of a game as it was going to be before?
Yes.
And Brian Kelly is going to know Tommy Reese's but well as anybody.
Yeah, that game just got a little bit less exciting.
But it's in Tuscaloosa.
It is in Tuscaloosa, and Bama still does play defense. So
This is a good year for Bama because their 3 most difficult games all in Tuscaloosa.
that is true.
Actually, 4 most difficult games because I forgot to include Texas.
Yeah. Who's the other team that we were talking about, like maybe taking the over on? I'll pull up their schedule. Pull up that list again.
A&M.
Texas A&M. All right.
Under.
Texas
Wow.
A&M football schedule. Okay.
What was it? 7.5?
Yeah. Bobby Petrino.
All right.
Yeah.
So are we ready for
They're
this?
still coaching though.
Yeah, let's hear this.
All right. Where are we at here?
Nobles.
September 23, right? All right. So New Mexico,
Okay.
then the U.
They go to you. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to Miami.
Win.
That's win.
Yeah, they won last year. Going to win this year.
Yeah, they'll win this year.
I don't know. They're no Middle Tennessee.
Monroe,
Win. That's 3.
murderers. Home against Auburn.
Win.
Oh, that's probably a win. Yep.
At Arkansas.
Loss.
Ooh.
Well, no, wait.
No, it's
that's
a
that
neutral
weird game. Yeah. That's
Neutral
that weird
game.
game in
I
Dallas.
still think it's a loss.
So 4-1.
Because there were some weird circumstances that led them to that win. I don't think they're going to get so lucky this year.
Arkansas won last year. They're the one.
they?
Texas A&M doinked it off the uprights. You don't remember that on the last play?
There's so many weird things.
Yeah,
remember
that was a
Okay.
very weird game. You're right.
I guess I forgot the doink. Because I know, like, I know KJ Jefferson tried to dive in from the 6-yard line like he was Cam Newton.
Wait,
I remember that.
No, Arkansas lost. Arkansas is the one that doinked the upright.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Like I didn't think I was that crazy. I was like,
but it was
a lot of weird.
It was honestly a game that A&M should have won. But A&M does have a problem with DJ Durkin in a defensive system that has been proven not to work, and they're the only school that's kept it.
Yeah. See, Arkansas had control of that game early.
Yeah.
And then they had a couple of bad bounces in momentum.
Yeah, it was KJ trying to dive into the end zone from like the 7 that led to a fumble return.
Is this an echo chamber here?
Yes. I mean, that return for a touchdown where they handed it.
Yeah. I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? It was like second down too, which made no sense. Texas A&M. All right, so back to A&M. Home against Bama.
Loss.
They're gonna lose. Yeah.
Loss.
At Tennessee.
Loss.
Mm-hmm.
Was that 4-3?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Home against South Carolina.
Win.
That's a coin flip. We'll give him a win. Since
Not a big believer in Spencer Rattler.
Do we have reason to be?
No, I'm a huge believer in Bobby Petrino.
No, yeah.
I believe that he can wreck a motorcycle with a co-ed on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he probably will.
Well, actually,
be 2 years.
co-ed was on the
offense
front,
being
wasn't
really
she?
good. Connor Weigman, I think, is a legit quarterback.
Co-ed was on the front.
I do think. But do you think Petrino and Jimbo Fisher can coexist? I don't.
No.
As long as things are going well, offensively, yes, they can.
Yeah. Jimbo is going
do you
to
know
get
Jimbo?
his grimy. Yeah, he wanted to get his grimy hands on that offense. You know that.
I don't think he can let go. No. I really don't. That might be my hot take, but I don't think he can let go. Might be the hottest of hot. That might be a flaming hot take.
They said that with
Sponsored
Dave
by
Aranda
Flaming
in
Hot
2019 with Ed Orgeron. That he won't be able
that's
to.
different.
No,
That's
it
different.
isn't, because I've sat in meeting rooms with Ed Orgeron. I know what that personality is. That's not different. This is a man that he micromanages everything. For him to take it off there was not a sure thing, even though Dave Aranda is a good coach.
Dave Aranda was much more proven. I don't know. I don't think Jimbo can let it go. I really don't think Jimbo can let it go. Not the offense.
Yeah, we'll see.
Think he can.
But
I mean, if
he
for
doesn't
A&M
have,
fans,
he doesn't
I
have
hope
to let
that's
it
the
go to
case.
win 8 games.
Well, they are. Well, I mean, that's in their name, Texas 8-4.
Right.
All right,
But
at Ole Miss,
7.5 is the number. Loss. It's at Ole Miss. Yeah, it's a loss.
Mississippi State. That's a win. That's
Win.
home.
So there's 6.
Abilene. Christian.
Although A&M has
7.
so much trouble with Mississippi State.
Yeah, they do.
But it's a home game, Mississippi State on November 11th. That'll be, I think they'll be dead in the water by then. And their last game is at LSU.
Loss. That's 7-5.
But
that's
but A&M beat them last year when they had
I don't think they get them. I don't think they get them. They don't get them in Baton Rouge.
No, you don't. It'd be tough.
I just don't think they get them. And I
So
think
if they
Bobby
get
Petrino leaves a
one-
note on the stool.
If they get one team between LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, and what was the other one?
South
Tennessee.
Carolina.
Tennessee. If they get one of those, that's 8 wins.
Who are they going to get out of those?
That is the question.
Yeah.
That is the question.
I think they go 0 for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless Tennessee has some injuries, maybe. I mean, injuries could play a factor in this. I think if one of these teams gets beaten up,
but
fully healthy, I think they go 0 for that.
I think that there's a chance, and there's a real chance that Reuben Owens has a breakout freshman year.
There is a chance.
There's
a chance that he does.
That's a Devin A-Chain type running back. So A&M's offense, year 2 of Connor Weigman, Evan Stewart, Anais Smith. I'm just saying there's weapons on that field. And if the defense can kind of figure some stuff out.
There is some weapons.
They could be dangerous. I'm talking they're 9 or 10 win talented.
Niner.
Yeah, but Jimbo's still coaching.
But Jimbo's still coaching. So it's kind of winning in spite of yourself type situation.
Which they very well could. And I will be the first in line with my hot sauce to eat my crow if A&M goes over the 7.5. I don't think it will happen. I think they'll hit the under by winning 7 games.
I second that.
Maybe, and then the next year be set up to go with the over, whatever that over under is going to be. I think I don't know. It's just my gut feeling. It could be a very hot take, could be spot on. It's just my gut instinct, just knowing, just watching A&M and watching just kind of how Jimbo just fumbles things around on the sidelines, and I just don't think he has it in him to trust anybody.
You know,
it's going to be his downfall.
Do you want to hear my hot take? Because, like I said, your Jimbo stuff makes sense. But Alabama at 10.5 wins. Now, my hot take. I think Texas, no joke, right? Look at you.
What am I, a homer? You know.
Yeah.
And I shall take the under.
I think Texas is going to beat them in Tuscaloosa. And the hype train for Texas is going to be unbearable, because that's the way Texas does whenever they do that inevitably once every 10 years.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened when they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. I mean,
yeah.
They're still running off of that.
But I think after it's all said and done, there's a chance that Alabama's 8-4.
Nah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
I mean, if you get into a situation where Tennessee's hot, you get into a situation where LSU's up.
I mean, Miss is up, A&M is up.
Yeah, all those one-score games
right there.
Okay,
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying there's.
Yeah, I'm saying it's possible. And my hot take this year, I think getting Alabama early, you can completely screw up their season because of what the expectations is at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year. If Alabama, for instance, lost 2 games in September, the place would riot. You can't convince me otherwise.
So here's a hot take. What if Alabama beats Texas by like 45? What is everybody going to say then?
Well,
Alabama's just like they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Bama's Bama. I mean, that's what you say. That's the expectation. Bama's Bama. You're expected to beat Texas by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. You have to understand,
if it happens,
Jake,
everybody's like, okay, that's Bama.
You have to understand, Jake, you have a higher bar than the rest of us. Except for maybe Corey. I mean, you've earned that.
Now we do. I mean, we didn't always have that, but now we do.
But Alabama has a high bar. So whenever there's a decline, when everybody talks about the decline of Alabama, you always hear that all the time. Yeah, 9-3 would be that decline. If Ole Miss goes 9-3, they would build Lane Kiffin a statue.
Yeah, but Alabama's not going. I mean, we won 10 games last year. You know, so
yeah, but it took the bowl game to do it, right?
Yeah, but our 2 losses in the season were by 4 points on the road. So, you know,
I remember.
And I think
on a blocked field goal.
Yeah, and I think this team is a lot more talented. Minus quarterback than it was last year.
Y'all criminally underused Jahmyr Gibbs too. I mean, y'all.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't. That minus quarterback is the thing, because without Bryce Young, you guys are in the Music City Bowl last year.
Without Bill Bryan, would have been a national championship game. We got rid of him. So,
I mean that is true, and that is good. I mean, you made a step in the right direction. I don't know that Tommy Rees replacing him is that much better, but who knows? I just don't see it.
I think he's going to be a no grade.
I just don't see it. Here's my
and we're at the
Saban retires.
Yeah, we're at the time of year when hope springs eternal for everybody. Everybody's going undefeated right now. So we'll see, because I was sitting here going like ceilings of floors with Ole Miss, and it's like Ole Miss can win 10 games next year. Ole Miss can also win 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably somewhere in the middle is the right answer. But if you look at it and do W's and L's, I can get Ole Miss to 10 wins.
Yeah, if Georgia wins 10 games next year with that schedule that we have, it's a massive disappointment.
It's a riot. Yeah.
It's a riot.
They're going to riot. Yeah.
Which 10-2 would be a phenomenal season under many circumstances.
Yeah.
And for most programs would be an outstanding year.
And if Tennessee hits that 10, hits the over, just does the 10-2, that's an amazing season. That's an Access Bowl year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For the second straight year. Like and it would take beating Georgia to get there, which is never an easy game with this rivalry. Kirby is ultimately had Tennessee's numbers, had everybody's number for the most part, but
Yeah.
it would be like for Tennessee. I just think there's going to be some depth issues because I think you guys lost a lot to the NFL and a couple guys to the transfer portal,
And I'm just
There's
willing to play the Joe Milton game. I'm just not.
I was gonna say that's the thing that'll kill Tennessee is if Joe Milton if he does like 2 years ago, comes out not very strong, and they have to start figuring out between him and Nico who's taking over.
at that point
it becomes a quarterback controversy.
I think Nico's.
then
I think Nico's going to special.
Yeah.
I think he's going
I
to.
Yeah.
think Nico needs to play.
But this year could end up just being Nico getting used to the game for next year when he really takes off.
yeah.
And so it could be,
I think
even if it's a
Nico's
bad
gonna
year,
be-
I think we'll still have hope. But
I think Heupel's a good enough coach that I think he would have some things in place for Nico to be able to succeed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now
What-
don't throw him to the Wolves against Georgia as his first start. Maybe like start him.
It could be Florida because they're the third game. So.
Yeah. I
that
think
point-
I think a Peyton Manning type situation's on the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
I like Nico. I think he's
throw 30 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. Yeah, who knows?
He's
No,
he's good.
I'm just saying that the starting quarterback gets injured or something happens, and all of a sudden by game 3 or 4, Nico takes over and he never relinquishes it.
That could happen. He's
that's
looked
possible.
very good. So
He's that special. Like like I said, I mean,
very
quarterback's
skinny.
such an Kentucky was going to be a definite under but they have Devin Leary, so
yeah.
I think that makes them viable.
Who's better than Coffee Banana Boy?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Mayo.
Who's
Thanks
going to be a
again.
superstar in the NFL? I can feel
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God! I saw a tweet.
I'm glad you believe that, Jeb.
I have to believe it.
They're like, Will Levis will wear number 8 or something like that in
Yeah.
Tennessee, and it was like, that's Kobe Bryant's number, and it's like, how is that relevant?
It's not.
Like, where is that connection? Like,
Yeah, it's like what?
Hopefully he throws more touchdowns than Kobe did.
Number
Well,
8,
if he
Marcus
throws-
Mariota wore that number at Oregon. Oh wait,
Yeah. And
number 8, Aaron Rodgers wears that number for the Jets.
Archie Manning wore that number with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
Yeah, great
Eight-
fact there.
Congratulations.
Eight's a fairly common quarterback number. We don't have to say you did it for any certain reason.
Okay, Kobe wore 8. Okay,
Oh.
cool. Well, I hope you can throw more touchdown passes than Kobe. If you don't, that's a problem.
Really. I don't remember him going in.
I think Jake Locker struggled with that, didn't he?
He did.
Yes.
Very.
But Jake
Very bad.
Locker forgot what he got drafted as because I think he thought he was a running back.
Wait,
Do-
wasn't
do you-
If it's
Mettenberger?
healthy.
What was Mettenberger? What number was he?
8.
Hey, I
Was he
think-
8? He might have been 7.
He was 8. He was 8.
There you go. There's another one.
Sagman
8 has
Oh.
not worked with the Titans. They didn't get rid of that number.
But no, I'm going to
Archie
find
wore
myself
that number
rooting
with
for
the
Philly.
Houston Oilers,
Oh,
which
well, there you
technically,
go.
yeah.
That's
There
what
you
we
Yeah.
are.
go. Okay,
There we go.
here we go. Now we're getting
There's-
somewhere.
Ooh.
So I got a question for the panel. It's inevitable. I'm steaming ahead on this track. But the Philly Dogs, I'm gonna have to root for Philly at some point.
I understand.
I mean, you're already a Falcons fan.
Oh, Falcons. Yeah.
Falcons. Okay. All right. Well, return that bag to your head while you're at it. So, Aints. That's my favorite.
Thanks, Falcons.
Aints.
Yeah.
Falcons. Yeah, there you go. 28-3. So Yeah, like I'm wearing my green, I guess, tonight for the Philly Dogs. I just
Well.
it's inevitable. I guess I have to do it.
I was gonna say you don't know.
It's the
you're
Philly,
not-
Georgia Bull Eagles.
Philly, Georgia Bull Eagles.
The
I
Philly,
was upset for a
Alabama,
long time in the NFL because I
Georgia
couldn't
Bulldogs.
root for Peyton Manning, so I get it. I just could not become a Colts fan, but that's because of the Titans. If it was a team, like when he was on the Broncos, I was a huge Bronco fan.
Like Israel's a Cowboys fan.
Peyton killed us.
Now he has
Every
to.
time we played
I
him.
know.
God.
I was
And-
just happy I got to see Peyton play for Indianapolis against the Titans a couple of times.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
exciting.
just so I actually got to lay eyes on it. I got to see the game where Drew Brees threw the touchdown pass to Michael Thomas. That happened in Tennessee as well. So I got to see that. So that's pretty great.
I mean, I remember coming in from church on Sundays and flipping over the Titans when we was playing the Colts and be like 28-0, like 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter, and Peyton's already thrown like 4 touchdown passes. I'm like, good God, you gotta be kidding me.
He had their number. He did.
He did. I'm like, God,
Touchdown
nobody can
pass
stop
coming soon.
him.
But honestly, if there was a
about to
team,
throw a touchdown pass.
if there was a team outside the Titans division that drafted as many Vols as the Eagles had the Dogs, I don't blame you. I'd be an instant fan.
Yeah,
You just can't help it.
But it had to be the Eagles, right?
Mm.
Like Steve, you know Philly people.
Oh, Woodard.
Like what I just can't root for that franchise, but like I have to. Like I like Sirianni, obviously the Philly Dogs. I like Jalen Hurts. I like Rashad Penny. I like
They have AJ
their roster's
Brown.
incredible. AJ Brown, their roster's incredible.
Their fans,
Devontae
though,
Their
Smith.
fans suck.
they're terrible. They're like
We don't have to go to
they're the
Philly.
worst.
somebody.
Just watch them on TV.
Somebody explained New York fans, and they had such an inferior order product that's going on that they had to go past it. I mean,
Yeah.
The I can't even say the word. The inferiority complex amazes me. It amazes me, and just like take the worst of the worst in the SEC because we have some bad fans. So the four of us in all of our fan bases, we have that segment that you would look at and go, "Oh God, they're fans of ours." Like I know Georgia fans.
Auburn Twitter is just the worst. It is absolutely the worst. I am living proof of that.
It's awful.
Yeah,
Of course,
and
they made me $7,000 last November, but Auburn Twitter is the worst.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, I've seen grown men bark in people's faces. That's not ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Drunk
Bama
Tennessee
fans,
girl hit me in the face with a pom pom, saying it's great to be a Tennessee Vol.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I got pelted with things at the landing during the world's largest outdoor cocktail party the night before the game. Florida fans are by far. Well, I wouldn't say by far because LSU's sitting there, but
I've never had a problem in Baton Rouge, and I've been down there multiple times. Not one issue.
I heard they're rowdy, but they're not like aggressive.
It's a place that if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it
quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're not going to mess with you if you're not messing with them. They don't care. They're having a good time.
Right.
Yeah, they're
But
partying.
like
They get drunk
Auburn
at
is
8 o'clock.
terrible. Tennessee Twitter is terrible.
AM.
A&M's weird.
Yeah. Colt.
It is yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
I want to get to that comment Wes said. Are the Raiders still paying Jamarcus Russell like the Mets are paying Bobby Bonilla, whatever?
Nobody
No,
will
I think
ever
it
have
just
a
means he's
contract
lost
like
all the money.
Yeah.
He's
That's
lost
true.
what, $56 million.
Oh yeah, that's what that means. He is lost. Yeah.
Okay.
He's squandered.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But still, Bobby Bonilla's contract is ridiculous. I don't know what the Mets are.
Oh,
Bobby
yeah.
Bonilla.
Bonilla, whatever.
That's
Yeah.
the stupidest thing ever.
July
Yes, I love
1st,
it.
Bobby Bonilla Day. He gets $1 million from the Mets.
And his
Jake,
what, like
Jake
70?
wasn't born when he retired, and Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the most amazing thing.
Although I do remember that Pittsburgh Pirates team that Bobby Bonilla was a part of, and you had like 180-pound Barry Bonds on that team playing in the outfield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds was
remember
wearing
what
a
that says.
6 3/4 hat, and he was 150 pounds. And he goes to the Giants, and he's wearing a
Stealer.
size 8.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
wearing a
Base
size 8.
stealer
He's
hitting for
bombs.
average. Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes to San Francisco, and he just pelting the outfield seats,
I wonder how that happened.
just dropping nukes.
New
Wes
workout
says
routine.
Wes says
New workout
Oklahoma.
routine, yeah.
Wes says Oklahoma fans are the worst. They keyed my car and busted my glass at the Independence Bowl in 1999.
Dang.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So
I'll get them. Yeah, see?
well, now you get a chance to have your revenge because in 2024 you could play Oklahoma, or it might be 2025, but by 2025 you are going to play Oklahoma. So go ahead and play in that revenge.
Wes, are you? The stupid question, Wes. You're an Ole Miss guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said stupid question. I figured that. I couldn't remember exactly, but yeah. So the Oklahoma boosters, you that listen to our show in that Oklahoma bar, I guess that I don't know if they still listen. Y'all
Who
keyed
knows?
Wes's car, so apologize to Wes,
Right, yeah.
or else.
But that was the
That is
game. Let me tell you about that game in '99. I had just met my wife. It was our first New Year's together.
1899.
Now Becky,
I don't think Becky's that old.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well, Steve's
I
immortal, so he's
watched
probably
the
had,
game, and the
five
last
other centuries.
and the last play of the new year was Les Binkley kicking a 42-yard field goal to beat Oklahoma. That was the last play of the millennium. And I go to sleep after that. I finally wear down. I go to sleep, and like 1 o'clock in the morning, the fire alarm starts going off. The hotel's on fire. They're evacuating the whole thing.
Dang.
So this was in Bristol, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we just decided, well, screw it. We're just going to drive back. And it was one of the most unsafe things. You know, the oh crap bumps on the shoulder. We hit like 7 times in that drive. It was probably the most stupid thing I have ever done in my entire life, was trying to drive back from Bristol, Tennessee to Washington, D.C. that night.
Oof.
So you drove from Shreveport to Bristol, and then
No,
Bristol?
I wasn't in Shreveport. I watched the game on TV in Bristol because we were visiting. That's when I met my mother-in-law for like the first time, and my father-in-law.
Oh,
and
you
all
did
that. Yeah,
Oh,
So
nice.
it was like meet the parents,
yeah.
The family.
family.
Little do we know that just a year later, I would
You
ruin
had
all
fun.
of their dreams.
When'd you meet Jeb?
I think it was about that weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I was
about
like,
then.
who the hell is this guy?
Maybe we went
Yeah.
down in like October or something like that.
Why
but
is
it
he
was-
ripping his shirt off?
It was right
Oh.
about that time.
Corey.
It was a Ed Orgeron Ole Miss joke.
Oh, my gosh.
What is this guy? Who is this guy? Steve.
So, before we get out of here tonight, now let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. We mentioned our presenting sponsor that's going to start May 31st on this show.
And we're not going to leave you on a cliffhanger like Wes is in the chat.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, come back next week.
Tune in.
It's kind of like Montgomery Burns, right?
Mhm.
So, Dead Soxy is going to be our channel presenting sponsor. They're going to show up in all of our thumbnails. They're going to be all of our shows. We're going to take care of Jason, and we're thankful for him coming on board. But as part of our expansion, we're going to add some new shows. We always refer to Jeb as just a guy. He's going to do a show basically talking about the plot of 80s movie. For instance, like, hey, what was the movie Back to School about? It was about a father that wanted to spend more time with his son. So he decided to buy a dorm room and dive and stuff like that. It's going to be about 15 minutes. And because we want this channel to be fun, we want you to have a
Good napping time.
a good time. We're going to make this channel random. We're going to do a rewatch of 1923 in late June. It's going to really kick off in late June. We have a guy that's going to come on in June or July with a original Rod Serling Twilight Zone. And we have some talent that is looking to maybe do a Mississippi high school football show. So this channel is going to be off the rails. Like I said, whenever I say it's the brand, we're not joking. But it all starts with Dead Soxy coming aboard. And remember, go to their website. They have Georgia socks. They have Alabama socks. I don't know about Tennessee, but they probably do as well. Yeah, go to the website. Father's Day is coming up. If you're an Ole Miss fan, they do NIL socks. You can get Quinshon Judkins socks where Quinshon gets some of the proceeds of those socks. So go there, give them a look. But this show is really going to kick off starting May 31st.
Hey, Dead Soxy, since you are our presenting sponsor, you need to have some Corey Burton socks.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure that would sell very well. I'm sure they would make a ton of money on that one.
They will. Once our show gets big, Steve, they will.
Ole Miss NIL socks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Jeb doing a show because it's going to be called In Case You've Lost the Plot. And it's just going to be the plot of these 80s movies. Like he can talk about Cobra. You know, how awesome would it be to get the plot of Cobra? Yeah, it's fantastic.
You're a disease.
I'm going to go watch. I'm going to watch you, Jeb, and then go rewatch the movie just because I've never heard of them. The 80s movies. It's a little bit
yeah. Some of y'all gonna be young enough not to know these. That just amazes me whenever I mention a movie that people haven't seen. Steve won't even listen to. Steve probably won't listen to the horror ones, but we'll go do Critters too. I love that movie.
You need to do
showing your age,
Clowns
Jeb.
from Outer Space too.
Killer Clowns was a great one. Yes,
I'm definitely
not
watching that. I hate clowns.
It was scary when I was young.
Nope.
And it's such sad effects now, but man, back at the time, it was crazy. They encase people in cotton candy so they can then eat them. I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah, no. I hate clowns.
It's going to be fantastic. And of course, we have like the Bleav In Georgia Dawgs podcast. That's linked on the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Ty Talk Live. I think it's there now. Is it now?
I think I'll check.
Yeah.
Locked On Ole Miss is there.
Yeah. Locked On Ole Miss is there. And we're going to try and expand this thing and make this fun because that's what this is all about. No matter what we're doing, we're trying to have a good time, and we won't do it if it's not fun. So hopefully it will be fun for you. And if you don't enjoy it, tough break. There's probably another video on the channel that you will enjoy.
There'll be something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Off the Rails is the brand.
That's right.
Definitely. So, yeah, Dead Soxy. You should check it out, man. Check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're a company out there and you're like, man, Dead Soxy is onto something, and you want to get in on the action too, there's going to be stuff for you. Now, you can't be the presenting sponsor like Dead Soxy,
that's taken.
but you can.
You can be our pick segment sponsor.
Yeah, you can be our pick segment sponsor. Yep.
Hey, Steve, I just saw this on the tweeters. Oguchi Onyewu is named Vice President of Sporting by the United States Soccer Federation.
Here's a problem that I have. And I am, as you know, Corey, I am not a Euro snob, even a little bit. But we need to do a meritocracy and quit being so inbred in U.S. soccer and just go find the best people to do what we want them to do and not just people that were good playing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We've gotten to the point where we finally have stars, and now all of a sudden you want to say, well, they were good at playing soccer. They might be good at coaching or scouting or something. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. You need to go find the kid that is sitting there talking to Brad Pitt in Oakland, explaining why they wanted Scott Hatterberg. You need to find that somebody that nobody's ever heard of that's just really good at their job and they do it a little bit differently. Because if you try to do things the same way, like if I'm Lane Kiffin and I try to build Ole Miss up the same way as Georgia and Alabama, I'm automatically going to be worse than Georgia and Alabama because they've already established themselves. I'm picking up leftovers trying to do that. You're never going to be what they are. You have to find a different way to do things.
And I mean, we're set up for when's the World Cup coming to the U.S.? Is it 2025?
2026.
So I mean, we're set up because we got a young team. This set up to be a great homecoming of sorts for the team. We got to get the guys around them to lead them. So
speaking of soccer and MLS,
It's going to be Jesse Marsh, by the way. He's going to end up coaching them.
no, gosh,
Yeah. I don't know enough about that to say yay or nay on that, but I do know this. I went to my first Nashville soccer club game on Saturday. Match on
Nice.
Saturday.
How's the
And
stadium?
it's so nice. So nice.
By the way, Corey,
Not a bad seat in that place, by the way.
the new little minor league soccer team we have up here in Huntsville is the sister to the Nashville group. So there's a couple guys who started down here have made their way up to the main roster because of injuries, I believe.
It's the affiliate.
Yes, the affiliate. So I hadn't gone and seen them yet, but I'm excited. They're really good. It seems
So
like.
I started off with Atlanta United because, Atlanta. I'm like, okay, Atlanta got a soccer team and Nashville does not yet, so we're good. Like I'm going to root for Atlanta. We finally have a Southeastern team that I can get behind because I didn't have an MLS team because there was nobody around me that I really cared about.
Yeah, the nearest one was Houston or Chicago.
Yeah, and I was not going to latch on to either one of those places. So Atlanta came aboard. I'm like, oh yeah, 5 stripes, Joseph Martinez. This is going to be this is good. This is going to be really good. It didn't really hit the way. And then Nashville SC came. I'm like, okay, I got a team I can root for. I'll pull for them. I mean, it's just MLS. I'm going to just kind of watch it from afar and whatever. And then I went to a game. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm there.
Their TV contract that they just signed, it might be for $250 million a year. It's freaking horrible. There's no exposure for the league.
Yeah, it's bad. The Apple TV thing.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm at the point where as
'cause
everybody knows, I'm a lifelong Detroit Tigers fan and have been for 2 months.
For 2 months.
And that's
but
because
they're
of
playing,
Apple TV.
they're playing really well because you're a fan, though, Steve.
Oh, yeah, they're badass now. Yeah.
They think the MLS thinks that they can Sunday ticket this thing, and it's not. They're not there yet.
Right.
They're not there.
I will say this though. I've watched Sunday Ticket, and I've seen the MLS package. I've seen all of that. I've not seen like the NBA thing, so I don't know anything about that. But the MLB.TV, awesome. Awesome. It is worth the $10 or $20 a month.
Sunday ticket's overrated.
Yeah.
Like I'll just watch whatever game they play. It doesn't matter.
But you have every morning they have a recap rundown that's basically like the same thing as what SportsCenter used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just like 45 minutes of baseball highlights of every game that happened. They have different shows on there. They have all the games. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I can watch whatever I want to. It's pretty great. And most of the games, because of the way the scheduling works and so many 3-game series, most of it's day games. So I just in the middle of the day, it's a lot like I was whenever I was like 10, 11 years old and Wrigley Field didn't have lights and every game was like 3:00 in the afternoon. And I mean, it's pretty cool. There's a nostalgia element, and I'm having a good time, like relearning these players.
Yeah, or learning them because you've been out of baseball for a while. But
I said, relearning, because some of them, like Miguel Cabrera, I knew him.
He's been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Speaking of ageless wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the TV deal. I mean, what's NFL Red Zone like? Because I'm going to venture into that, I think, this year.
The Red Zone channel is pretty good. It's not as good as MLB Big Inning, by the way. If you can watch that. It's fantastic. It's the same type concept, but with Red Zone, but the way baseball is set up is just a better product. I just put on Big Inning at nighttime, and like 4 games are going on at once, and they just do audio from whichever one you need to hear. It's pretty good. Yeah,
and the Red Zone does a good job of keeping up with touchdowns and that kind of thing. But I have trouble. Like, I want to know what's happening.
It's like the NFL.
And
It's like the NFL game for massive ADD people like me.
Yeah, but you just can't keep up with any particular games very well because they only get to the red zone. If the team's not in the red zone, you have no idea what's happening.
Yeah,
it kind of drives me nuts. But it is good for people who want to keep up just with the scoring.
Well, the good news is for anybody that doing the MLB thing is with Bally's having the bankruptcy problem that they're going through. Now they're paying their bills and do what they have to do now, but it looks like eventually MLB is going to get those rights back, and they're
thanks to Jeff Francoeur. Yeah, they're making their money back.
Great.
Yeah.
And they'll get rid of blackouts when they do that. It'll be a situation. Yeah, it won't be a situation.
That would be great because that's the biggest problem with Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, Bally Sports blats out Atlanta games in our area. It's like ridiculous. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So in Nashville, it's Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals, and Atlanta Braves are all blacked out.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
My brother lives in Arkansas, and Houston Astros are blacked out. I mean, is he supposed to drive to Houston? That's just ridiculous.
So okay, NFL question. This might be a stupid question, so I'm going to. But what advantage does the NFL have not airing all of their games like they would, like college does? Like having games sprinkled out through different networks at different time slots.
No, I don't know. That's probably just money.
Well, yeah, it's just money.
Is it just to drive people to get Sunday ticket? Is that because they could get couldn't they get same amount of money with advertising if they just put it all made every game accessible?
Well, they're not. The one problem they have, they're not allowed to broadcast on Saturday. There's a federal law that they're not allowed to broadcast on Saturday while college football season's going on.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying broadcast on Saturday. I'm saying on Sunday, spread the games out around different networks.
I'm sure they took the time
They do that anyway, though. They usually have a CBS and a Fox game, and then the night game's NBC.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm talking about all the games at once,
I'm
all
sure
the 1 o'clock games.
Around,
you could go watch. You could go to have all the networks that air NFL games, have them air games at every time slot. Like NBC has a 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock game. This game,
I agree, it doesn't make sense, but
Amazon Prime has a 1 o'clock, 4 and then their primetime slots. And
they have to have looked at that and realize they just can't make as much money doing it. I don't know why, but.
Why? I've always wondered that.
It's money.
It's got to be money. I figured that.
I just don't know how.
I'm just trying to find the angle.
It wouldn't be better. Yeah.
I'm trying. You could get more viewers, more random viewers.
Yeah.
Maybe they're also trying to drive more people to the stadiums. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you could get more viewers. Honestly, I think football's kind of tapped out. The way it is.
Well, they wouldn't have to do Thursday games in that with that model. Probably.
But Amazon's paying out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they got the money to do it, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Corey, you want to get us out of here?
Yeah, let's get us out of here. All right. So we are SEC After Dark. We thank you for listening. We hope that we're going to be able to continue to do some over-under stuff, do some schedule watching, maybe talk about some potential upsets for teams, kind of break some things down further, follow the news, things like that. And, of course, always go off the rails. Maybe we could start doing some, what to watch type scenarios. And, before we know it, media days will be upon us, and then the season will be right there. And this will all be presented by Dead Soxy starting on May 31st. So, we look forward to that. If you want to follow us at SEC_after_dark, SEC After Dark on the Yells Conference Network channel on YouTube. At Bleav In Dawgs is also linked there, as well as Locked On Ole Miss and Tide Talk Sports. So all of your Georgia live. Why did I say sports? Tide Talk Live. So all of your Georgia, Ole Miss, and Bama shows are right there, and of course us. And then follow the plot. If you got lost in the plot or whatever you're calling it by Jeb,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That'll be there, and then
Just a random dude podcast.
Just a dude. Don't Google that. We could do another. You could do 2 segments. Don't Google that, and in case you lost the plot.
That's good.
Hey, real quick, Corey. Wes, I have not heard anything about that other than the fact that everybody is talking about there's an interest between the 2 parties. Even people that don't normally talk about it are talking about it. So it makes me think something is there.
Something probably is there.
Yeah.
Georgia's gotten quite a few transfers, and they've done quite well in basketball recruiting. Georgia's roster is getting a little bit of a turnaround here, so to speak. So I'm gonna have to talk to Israel about that. So be sure to tune in. We may breach that subject if you're a fan of Georgia basketball. Which, if you're a fan of Georgia basketball, I applaud you. You're like the Marines, the few and the proud. So we will be back here same time next week. We hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and then we'll see you back here better than ever next week. But until then, you know the drill. Go Dogs.
Hotty toddy.
Roll Tide.
Go Vols. Good.
First time, long time, Paul.
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 Lord.
Hey.
I felt